So the thing that I love the most about Princess Connect Redive, especially on episode number 2, is just the strong focus that we got on Karyl this episode. So when you think about the best character that you enjoy the most, or the one that comes on screen that is best girl, whoever is the one that you just identify with the most, for me personally, when it comes to this anime, it's always been Karyl. Karyl is like my favorite character. And then from there on, it becomes like Pecorine and then Yuki and then Kokoro. And sometimes that whole dynamic will end up changing just depending on what happens. Now, the thing that I really loved about episode 2 specifically is obviously we got the strong focus on Karyl, but we also got a strong focus on kind of like a serious tone or serious like undertone, which is usually different from the normalcy that we usually get when it comes to Princess Connect. It tends to be just something that is just fun and dumb and silly, and they go on adventures and they have these Konosuba kind of like type adventures that are just funny and hilarious. But really, the undertone has always been exactly what's going on with Pecorine, what's going on with Karyl, and then what's going on with Yuki. Not so much Kokoro, because we know Kokoro was basically assigned to watch over Yuki. But I'll make my way to Karyl. But with Yuki, it's what was his past life? What was his comrades that he had before? What was all the memories that he lost? What kind of person? Obviously, he's a little bit of a dum-dum now, but what kind of person was he before? Because we know that who he is now is a shell of who he used to be. So who was he before? We still have yet to get that flashback for him. Then when you have Pecorine, right, she has all of that additional baggage for being the princess of a kingdom, and for basically leaving that land to go and fulfill something within herself and to be what the job description of a princess is, but not be it from the kingdom because she felt like she was restricted from there. But she also knows that she can't, not be that is who she is. And, her biggest worry is, when does she share that information with Yuki? When does she share that information with Karyl? And until some of these secrets begin to no longer be secrets from the rest of the group, that is going to really what makes or breaks this whole little quadruple group that they have going on, this 4 group that they have. What can break them is the secret. So when will she, kind of have that information out? Then you get to Karyl, right? And that's where a lot of last season and then this season too is a lot of focus on her being a spy, her watching Pecorine, her watching Yuki, and kind of being able to like navigate through that. And she has this constant struggle with who she is, as far as is she just the spy and the knight for this dark kingdom? Is she just this peon and this pawn? Or is she friends for Pecorine? Is she friends for Yuki and Kokoro, right? Like, she's gonna have to make this really big and large decision on who's the most important to her. What's most important to her? What does she identify with the most? Is she friend of this new family, this new set of people that she has now, been living with, and that really kind of fills her glass? Or is she over here because of her sense of duty and the scarcity she has for her life, and not knowing, with not fulfilling that role, what will end up happening? So there's a lot of just unknown for her. So I like how in episode number 2, we've already gotten that kind of deep dive, and we see her internal struggle, of, duty versus what she actually wants. And in this episode, we got introduced to the 3 girls who are like the ones who put on the concert, or they're like the divas, or they're like the songstresses. They're like the people who sing over there. And she identified with one of them because one of them was doing her late night practices, because she's trying to match the energy and trying to match up to the girls that are around her. And she's doing all this work to be on that same level playing field as them, right? So Karyl kind of identified with that, and she was like, well, I need to see, who am I fighting for? What am I fighting for? And she needs to kind of like, she's going to have to make that decision. And ultimately, I'm waiting for the moment to where Karyl finally comes out and lets Pecorine, lets Kokoro, lets Yuki know, what's been going on, what her assignment is, because they would understand and they would be there to back her. But, for her to be able to break the ties with what she has, it's going to be damn near a death sentence there. And we also don't know if there's any kind of a curse or any kind of control, or what kind of control that queen has over her. And then she does mention the whole bloodline stuff when it comes to the queen and Karyl as well. So what does that mean? Does that mean is that her mother? Is that her sister? Is that a cousin? What kind of bloodlines does she have there? And if it is like if that is Mama, that would kind of be pretty freaking crazy. But there's a lot of unknowns there as far as her ties to that specific kingdom and who the hell is that kingdom. She knows that she's that lady, that really evil furry lady. She's queen, but queen of what exactly? Those are a lot of things that haven't necessarily been explained yet, but I'm hoping as we kind of get the rest of the season to get explained. Now, those are the serious things that are happening within the anime, but then obviously we have the overtone instead of the undertone. We have the overtone, which is the silliness, the gags, the adventures, the fun, the comedy that ends up happening throughout each and every episode, which is kind of what I feel like we're all here for. But I do love that there are some serious undertones and there are some serious things that if you're looking for them, they are here. But if you're not looking for them, you can kind of just ignore them and just enjoy what the anime ends up giving you, which is cute, fun, comedy. You get bite-sized, little adventures. That is what we're here for, and that's what I love. But I love being able to kind of pick those little undertones that it has, especially when it comes to my favorite character, which is Karyl, in the anime. So definitely loving that a lot. So let me know what you guys thought about episode number 2. Let me know if you also enjoy kind of the deeper dive that we're beginning to get, and I feel like that road that we're heading down, which is starting to unravel some of the stories that each of these unique characters have. The one I want to know the most about is for sure Karyl, but then secondary to her is Yuki, because I want to get a flashback of who Yuki was before he was a shell of his former self. And the last one for me is obviously Pecorine, but we kind of already know what her deal is there, which she just needs to kind of come out to the group, and then she needs to make that decision on what she's going to do with her future, so. And then obviously we have Kokoro, which Kokoro seems to kind of be the tie. So we have like Kokoro here, and then everybody branches out. So Kokoro, I think we'll find out about Karyl first. I think Kokoro already knows about Pecorine, and Karyl knows about Yuki. So it's like she's like the kind of like the cornerstone of what keeps that group together. So it's gonna be very interesting as we go on. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments below. Let me know, as I've asked last week too. Let me know who best girl is. Who's the one that you choose the most, or who's best girl or best boy? Because that can be Yuki as well. Let me know who your favorite character is in the anime, and I'll see you guys next week for episode number 3. Peace out, guys.